Hello there, and welcome to another religious talk. I am not wearing pants right now, and I felt the need to share that. Anyway, today's topic is a simple question that has a lot of complicated answers. Who is Jesus? So who's this Jesus guy? In case you've never heard of him, which I kind of think is unlikely, but possible. Jesus is a figure found in the New Testament of the Bible. He lived from around 3 or 4 BC to like 33 AD, somewhere in there. He lived for 33 years, so you can pick year 33. In fact, the year 0 is named such because that's when people thought he was born, but it turns out he was probably born like 3 or 4 years earlier. Christmas, traditionally his birthday, and actually mixed with a Yuletide Roman holiday, and he was probably born in April or November. Anyway, so this Jesus figure is pretty prominent in the Bible. The New Testament is really all about him. And he pops up in our culture sometimes. But who is he? That depends on who you ask. You ask Mary, his mother, she's going to tell you he's my kid. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you as a Christian that Jesus is the Son of God and Son of Man. He's fully God and fully human. He's the Messiah/Christ, and he has died to save us from our sins and will one day come again to reign in full glory. There's obviously a lot more that I believe about Jesus than that. But if you ask Muslims who Jesus is, they'll tell you he was a prophet. And what they say about the crucifixion is kind of cool. They say that first, they say that God created Jesus much in the same way that God created Adam. The whole from nothing thing. Except Jesus was, I guess, lucky enough? Or whatever. Maybe unlucky enough to get stuck in a womb, too. But, so, made from God, but an ordinary person. Which is already different from what Christians believe. Because Christians believe he is fully God and fully human. It's not about math at all. Anyway, so then they believe when it comes time for him to be crucified that God takes him up into heaven, he ascends directly, and his likeness was bestowed upon somebody else, and so somebody was crucified in his place. Which is kind of cool and kind of cruel. Like, poor person who got crucified instead of Jesus. Alright. If you ask Jews who Jesus is, you'll get some different answers. Some people say he was a prophet, and that the only reason people said he was Messiah was because his disciples slandered his name afterwards and tried to make him into some Messiah claimer, false prophet, heretic person. Other Jews believe that Jesus himself proclaimed that he was God, or the Son of God, the Messiah, and so he was a blasphemer. And either way, they don't believe he was the Son of God. They don't believe he was the Messiah, because he doesn't meet these requirements that they set out for the Messiah. Now, one is interesting. It says he has to be fully man. So none of this whole Son of God thing. But if he's both fully man and fully God, then, he's fully man. He meets that requirement. And there are some other requirements that he, as a Christian, I believe, is promised to fulfill in the future. Which is why I can claim him as Messiah, because I know he will fulfill all the roles and just hasn't done so yet. But this is not exactly the time for this conversation. I'm just, laying down what different people believe. And so There are other people. Some people don't believe he existed. Some people just believe he walked around. But we know he was a real person. There's historical evidence of a dude named Jesus of Nazareth getting executed, and of all of these sort of small uprisings happening, sort of inspired by him. Like, you cannot deny that a Jesus of Nazareth walked around on earth. Everything else is up for debate, sure, but he existed. And what you do with the fact of his existence is up to you. But I really think there are only 3 things you can do if you assume he was, in fact, Messiah. Or, not Messiah, if you assume he claimed to be Messiah. He was either a liar and wasn't Messiah. And so then why would you believe anything he said if he lied about that? A lunatic. Crazy. In which case, why would you believe anything he said? Or a lord. In which case, you gotta believe he really is Messiah. But of course, if you assume that he only is recognized by Christians as Messiah today because his disciples brought that up, then, well, you can call him a prophet, you can leave him as a woodworker, you can do whatever. Like I said earlier, personally, I think he's Messiah. But, you know, it's an interesting conversation, and I'm really glad that I get to research other people's perspectives. Who do you think it was? Got any opinions? Leave a comment below. Did you like this? Was this informative? Did you learn something new? Did you not learn something new? Like it. Want to see more videos? Subscribe. Yeah. There's a helicopter. I'm not refilming this. Don't forget. Submit your questions to my Twitter or Tumblr, or use the hashtag AskAzariah. Turns out jam session's pretty full because Tumblr no longer recognizes capitalization differences, so don't use that when you say AskAzariah. And they'll be answered in a Just Asking Monday. I hope you have a great